What's up, bros? And broettes. So, where do you want to start here? The
tracks that are bidding to be tracks that are not, to be tracks that are bidding to be Grand Prix that don't exist anymore, but will exist. Little calculation there happening. Some rumors coming from Italy.
You talking about Imola?
Yeah.
Just if it's Hungary, it's got to be Imola, right?
Right, I guess so.
So there's some crazy news this week that Imola has signed a contract with Bernie Ecclestone to host the Italian Grand Prix. I think this came out this morning or last night. Depending what, I guess, obviously time zone you're in.
Yeah.
The last 24 hours, anyways. It's pretty interesting because last week we were looking at the Bari Grand Prix.
Yeah.
These guys have $200 million, the Bari Grand Prix pushers. They have $200 million behind them to bring back the Bari Grand Prix.
Or at least they say they do.
They say they do. They've been pushing this at all the races since Monaco. They talked to Bernie. They got his blessing to push it for 2020. They're looking at 3 years from now, 3 or 4 years to push it for 2020. Build the facilities, the paddock club, and the TV center and all that floating on the ocean, on the bay.
How cool.
Bari's in Italy, if you don't know. But we also said about a month ago, the people, I don't remember the names. There's too many Italian names, but the Monza peoples somehow got passed through the Italian law, the Italian business law, that the only way, by law, that Italy could hold the Italian Grand Prix was at Monza. It's the only circuit that could be called the Italian Grand Prix. So the Imola race, though, we all know was held as the San Marino Grand Prix.
It was the San Marino Grand Prix. It was another.
I thought you were gonna back me up there.
No. It was the San Marino Grand Prix.
It was the San Marino Grand Prix. Up to 06. 06 was the last one, I think.
I think it is worth noting that we probably have some new Formula One fans.
Yeah, for sure.
Joining us. I wanna to talk about that for a second. So, the San Marino Grand Prix, it was a very important Grand Prix for a long time. It was one of the craziest races of the season. Imola is one of the all-time great Formula One circuits. It has and this is one of the reasons why people consider it so feasible. It's because it was so good. It was such a good track. It had it will always be remembered as the place that took Ayrton Senna's life. Yeah, good track, good challenge. I mean, it was a challenge for old Senna, right? So that's gonna tell you something. It's got this crazy layout that you see there. Now it was
don't
called.
Forget, Roland Ratzenberger died the day before.
Yeah, right.
The same circuit.
But
the two of their deaths led to the end of the race.
Well, I mean, it still happened well into the 90s. It was it was money. It was of course money and
it's always money, but
but it was called the San Marino Grand Prix, even though it's actually not in the country of San Marino. San Marino is actually a pretty interesting country because it is an enclave completely surrounded by Italy. This is not in San Marino.
Okay.
This is not. It is just San Marino is maybe less than an hour just drive away. But San Marino is a very, very tiny country that doesn't have any actual cities in it. It's it's a very, very tiny country that you can just drive across in less than an hour even. It's a tiny country, man. It's embedded, fully surrounded by the Italian Republic. And the thing is that if you have two tracks in your country and you want to have two Formula One races in those two tracks, you can only call one of them the Grand Prix of your country. So the Italian Grand Prix, because since pretty much its inception, I may be wrong with that, but at least as Formula One is concerned, as far as like the
at least since
1950 championship,
1950.
yeah, since
was
1950, it was in Monza, and
That
Monza,
crazy banked ass Pirelli circuit.
yeah, and Monza has such a history. It is one of like the it comes in terms of Formula One races held. I think it's Monaco, then Monza. Like it's been around forever, so you couldn't.
Silverstone is up there, except for the boycott year, like 2008. I think it's 7 or 8.
Yeah.
They had to boycott and ruin their record.
So when they decided to start hosting Grand Prix here as well as Monza, they had to give the title of the Italian Grand Prix to Monza, obviously, because Monza had like the bigger history behind it. Right. So this became the San Marino Grand Prix, because San Marino was like, you know what, we'll be in it, even though the track is not exactly in our country. Right. We'll let you like use like our national sporting authority, like we'll let you use the name of our country to host this race, so it can still be like a grand prize, like a big name. It can still mean something. And
in the same way, the Bari Grand Prix that we talked about, which is being pushed right now for a 2020 event, would be called the Mediterranean Grand Prix.
Right, because it can't have the Italian. It can't be.
So it's really just name alone then that separates it.
What's a name is everything, man. Sometimes
they've had in the past, like in the I don't know exact year. Sorry, 70s, 80s, 2 American races. So they had the American and the Western American.
Well, no,
Grand
they had like the US Grand Prix, the United States Grand Prix, and then like the West US Grand Prix.
In Germany, they had this is where the European Grand Prix has fallen in. In Germany, they've had years where they raced at 2 circuits. Called one was the German Grand Prix, one is the European Grand Prix.
Because they couldn't have 2 German Grand Prix.
The European Grand Prix has jumped around though. Like this year was in.
And at one point, actually,
interestingly, at one point, Grand Prix.
The race that happened at the Nürburgring was actually called the Luxembourg Grand Prix because for the same situation, because it couldn't be the German Grand Prix because German Grand Prix was already in Hockenheim
region.
Yeah. No, Luxembourg was a different country altogether. They just like close enough, so they're like, you know what, whatever. Take our name.
What do you think there? So we've got the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Been in Montreal since forever.
Yeah.
67 or whatever.
Yeah.
If they brought one to Toronto, what do you think it would be called?
The North American Grand Prix.
The Southern Ontario Grand Prix.
No, the North American. I've actually thought about this. So it would be the North American Grand Prix held on like
Continental circuit.
The North American Grand Prix. Held on like
what would America have to say about that?
In the streets of
Toronto.
Toronto.
You have to ask Donald Trump if he can use that name.
No, but listen, because this actually could be a very good idea. Honestly, let's go to City Hall with this and like let's plan it this way. Okay, so a North American Grand Prix held in Toronto. Okay, in the streets of Toronto,
fourth biggest city in North America.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a claim for it. It's held in the streets
New
somewhere.
Jersey
Like
can pull this off.
There's a bunch of like streets that like could do the job for like some like fast flowy circuits. Like it could be quite a decent race, and Toronto would put on a good show, and then have it rotate with another American city, and maybe even like go down to Mexico to like have that claim of
that's the first triple rotating race
every 3 years. Like it would be in Toronto, but so it would be like, let's say year 1 of the North American Grand Prix, it could be in Toronto 2018. Then year 2 could be New York 2019,
New Jersey
and
Grand Prix.
and then
that circuit was so badass.
Yeah, and then like
I clearly remember the episode.
And then make the third one like if you're gonna go to Mexico, like make the third one like in it like on the beach, because there hasn't been really like since Zandvoort, there hasn't been like a beach Grand Prix like situated right at the beach, like at a nice beach. You know what I mean? I think they could. Sort of like and this could work in many levels too if you make all temporary facilities. So the pit buildings could be, how for the London Olympics they pulled it off, and they pulled it off well, and they were able to pull it off even though like London didn't necessarily have like Shanghai money, but they still pulled off some great Olympics because a lot of the buildings that they used were temporary facilities, right? So they didn't have to like spend the money to build like permanent facilities,
right?
So what you do is like you make a ton of the facilities temporary facilities, and you move them around. So you move the barriers, like as the Grand Prix goes to the States, then you move all those facilities to the States. As the Grand
How
Prix
about
goes,
like Chichen Itza?
yeah, or something.
You use the pyramid as the paddock club. cut a track through the jungle. Could be pretty cool. Never mind seagulls.
Yeah.
Get some fucking blue ball monkeys swinging over the track.
I feel like you would anger some sort of god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but seriously,
A
how cool would
golden
that
god
be?
who
How
come
cool
down
would
and
that be?
shake
A
his
rotating, a triple country rotating North American Grand Prix. Toronto, then another one in Weehawken or whatever, like just outside of New York with the Manhattan skyline in the background, and then another one somewhere cool in Mexico, and or even like on an island. Yeah, do it like
Man-made or otherwise.
or otherwise. No, but come on, back me up. How sweet would that be?
I would absolutely love that.
But yeah, anyway, so going back though to Imola, great track. It's seen some amazing races. When it was still on. Unfortunately, it took the life of Ayrton Senna, but it is, all the more...
Roland Ratzenberger as well.
And Roland Ratzenberger.
Same weekend.
It's a track that, like, it still, like, lives in people's memories, right? Like, if you've been watching Formula One for long enough, you remember Imola, and you remember the races that happened there. And it would be... I would like to see it back.
I haven't, I don't, but I've seen the clips.
Yeah. I would like to see it back, except it's apparently like it may not happen because the people of Monza are pissed.
Yeah, so let me read you a direct quote from Bernie Ecclestone here.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Imola has changed ownership structure and everything in the last few years. They were losing money forever, like a lot of circuits worldwide. They changed a lot of stuff, upgraded their safety, repaved the circuit, new facilities, and they've made money the last 2 years. So this is coming from Bernie Ecclestone. I'm going to read you a fairly long quote here. He said, "At this point, there's no more political problems." This is talking about Italy in general. But he said, despite having a deal in place with Imola, which, like I said, 2006 was the last race, he said, "We've now got an agreement with Imola there that's ready to go. But we've a guy there that's saying either we do things my way or not at all. So when people say that, you know what the answer is going to be. He must do what he thinks is the right thing to do. And if we don't have a race in Italy, it won't be because of me. He has a contract, and all that's required is a signature. And as I've said before, he has got to get a pen and sign. They're good deals for them. They can please themselves." But again, he said if the race took place, the San Marino tag would be on it, and it would also have to be signed off by Sticci Damiani, who we also talked about when we talked about Monza, I think 2 weeks ago. So Imola signed their contract, but Ecclestone himself cannot sign it until Sticci Damiani signs it, who is the president of the ACI.
Oh,
It is
the Automobile Club of Italy, right?
Automobile Club, the Presidente del Auto Club d'Italia. I said that. I'm sorry, Italians. I'm really bad. Yeah, he's the president of the Auto Club of Italy, who's in charge of racing, sporting in Italy and the country's representation worldwide. Yeah, he's pushing Monza. He's on Monza's side. That's where his money is going. That's where his power is going. And who knows about this Bari and Imola thing? But I guess this is more for Ecclestone. He's got like Monza. You guys don't pay for this shit. If you don't come up with that money that we're at one.
He got tired.
We'll just jump over it.
He got tired of being dicked around too much by Monza but here, what he wants is more money. Obviously, like a lot. He was asking for a lot more money and for them to like do a lot of work, right? To like redesign this or like rebuild this part of the track or like this facilities, right? And Monza was basically for like a long time. What the argument was like, shut up, Bernie. You'll take what you're given because there's nobody else who's gonna host the Grand Prix, right?
And now that you don't say that to a Sith Lord,
yeah, that's it. So he probably has been wheeling and dealing and like like started like this thing, or like gave the people at Bari a little bit of hope, gave the people at Imola a contract, and now he's like, what do you mean nobody else wants it?
Yeah, exactly. Because and the Imola people, they've said like, we're ready. We have the money now to upgrade this to grade 1, modern grade 1 stuff. They need an answer by December to start the work. Probably they can push it a little past. It's they're conservative, but
Yeah.
to finish off Ecclestone's quote and show you where his head really is, he said, wherever we race, be it Imola or Monza, it needs to be sanctioned by him, Stici Damiani. Anyways, whatever you call it.
Yeah, whatever you.
Yeah, it's got to be sanctioned by him, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
We got no political problems though, whatever you call that. But anyways, Bari's pushing hard. The only problem for Ecclestone, which I guess is a problem, the Italian Grand Prix can only be called that if it's at Monza.
Yeah, so if it happens in Imola, it won't.
If it happens at Imola, there still won't be technically an Italian Grand Prix, even though obviously they'll push that idea that this is the Italian Grand Prix.
But San Marino has
it's a republic.
The San Marino Grand Prix has
sort of republic.
As a Grand Prix though, happening in Imola.
It has its own history.
Yeah, it has its own history. I think there's room. I think there's room now. Yeah.
People would love to see that come back.
Go to zoom in to San Marino.
Florence,
and then like
it's about equal distance from Florence and Bologna.
Well, Bologna, but
Bologna,
Bologna. Look up driving directions from there.
Bologna sandwich.
Click where it says Città di San Marino.
Yeah, inside there, right there.
Yeah. And then like go directions, and then type
Imola.
Enzo, EN0, yeah, space E, space, this one.
Autodromo Enzo Idino Ferrari.
So an hour and 20 minutes away from the actual.
Myself to the Italians.
Yeah.
So was that an hour and 20-minute drive?
From the actual like Republic of San Marino.
From the San Marino city center.
Yeah.
I mean, how fast could the Formula One cars get there? That's
a
really
good question. They should do that. They should do
about
that.
20 minutes. About 20 minutes.
Like you know how Le Mans has like or actually like you might not know this, but the start of the 24 hours of Le Mans, you don't start in your car. You actually do like the drivers all run to their cars
on the grid.
From one point they all run to their cars, get strapped in, start it up. That's a Le Mans start. God. So instead of having a Le Mans start for whenever like the San Marino Grand Prix comes back, they should have all the F1 cars drive from the San Marino to the circuit, and that's the start of the race.
Oh my god. That's great.
Okay, and here actually like about halfway through. Okay, go back here. This down here, right here.
Yeah.
Faenza. That's where Toro Rosso is based out of.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So they would be super close to Imola. So they'd be like pretty happy probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they would actually have these two races?
No.
At the same time?
I don't know. Like
money, I guess. It would be determined by money and by attendance, really.
Right. Yeah, because essentially people are going to either go to one, not both.
In Italy, you'd have that choice, right? Like if you live like somewhere like dead smack in the middle, or even if you live down in Rome or Florence, you'd be scratching. Hey, like, do I go to Milan?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like the way Italy kind of works, I guess, a little bit. That it's down to this one guy, Stici Damiani, to sanction the race. Like, he has to sanction it. If Bari wants to race all the way down there at the bottom of the shoe, of the boot, Stici's gonna have to sign off on that too.
Yeah.
But his political energy, whatever, is pointed at Monza. And Monza themselves is doing a bunch of circuit upgrades this year.
Oh yeah.
I guess for next year. I don't think we're not gonna see it this year. But getting rid of that first chicane, getting rid of the Curva Grande, going down that old Pirelli curve and into
we're gonna see like if those changes are for the better or for the worse, and then based on that, like the
I think
argument
it's gonna be for the better. They're predicting like 1 to 2 seconds a lap faster, tossing some gravel
on an already very fast circuit.
The Temple of Speed.
Yeah.
And throwing some gravel back around the Parabolica.
Thank goodness.
Oh, I'm so happy for that.
Yeah.
Fuck baguettes. Throw some gravel around there. Yeah, throw some gravel.
Hey, okay. We were talking earlier that Toronto race or whatever, like
Yeah.
the impossibility of that. Really, I mean, it boggles my mind. But
This
there
past weekend
is a
was
race that
Honda
happens
Indy.
in Toronto
Honda
of
Indy.
somewhat of some importance. Some might say. It was cool, man. Like
Some
it was
might
just
say.
I don't want to spend like a lot of time into this because, but it was like it is so different. The amount the access that
So many ways,
as a
too.
fan you have for Indy, and like I know that it's Indy, and like you can't compare it to F1, like the amount of attention that F1 gets. Some of the drivers were like driving around, or like we're just walking around in the middle of the crowd. Like actually, yeah, we were there.
Yeah,
and
before you got there, Mike, like we were inside where the building where they have all the teams.
basically their paddock.
Yeah, basically their paddock. It's indoors at Toronto, anyways. But they have all of their motorhomes and hospitality type stuff in there.
Yeah.
They have their I forget exactly what they're called, but basically their
Scrutineering?
scrutineering type.
Yeah.
They call it something else.
Yeah.
Technical inspection center where they weigh the cars like in F1. But right after the race, like the first practice, Jay and I walked through there. All the cars and drivers are just coming through like nothing. Some of the drivers are driving scooters, gas bikes inside the building. Just, sorry, get out of my way, sorry. But yeah, all the drivers are right there. Like,
Yeah, like you
this
could
close,
like
man.
you could just walking around like normal people. And I don't know if it's a combination of like just people actually like not knowing who the drivers are actually, or like
Part of
actually
that.
having their enough respect to like be like, yo, these guys are busy.
I
let's
doubt
let them-
it's the latter.
Bit
Yeah.
of both.
It might be a
It's
little
a bit
bit
of both.
Or
but
people just don't know anything about the sport.
and they just show up there like once a year just because
Yeah.
it's fun. But still, like I just couldn't imagine anything like that happening in F1. Like in the current terms,
The spectacle of it, the Australian Stadium Super Trucks, that was cool.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
I saw that. I got to watch that online. They did an online stream. They're fucking these, basically like a mix between a race car and a monster truck. They race around the Indy circuit. We left before it started because it was about
that
to
was when
rain.
you were
on
showing
Friday.
Yeah, with
Friday.
ramps and whatever,
Yeah,
jumping
fucking,
around.
they threw up ramps on the straightaways. Like,
Or obstacles that they have to judge. Yeah.
yeah, they call it it's Australian. Obviously, like when you hear that, you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's Australian.
Yeah, it's gotta be. They just
It's
invent
Australian,
crazy
mate.
sports.
Stadium
Yeah.
Super Trucks.
Yeah.
They kind of follow the Indy circuit.
I remember like when
badass.
we were sort of coming back from there and we were watching it and I saw them. I was like, why are they up and down so much? Why are they moving around? I was like, oh
that's-
yeah, they got ramps.
They do, they do jumps.
They jump and
big
shit.
suspensions, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it was it even though some of those things would not be totally doable with F1, like you couldn't you
North
probably couldn't,
American Grand Prix.
yeah, but you probably couldn't have like the drivers just walking around in front of like just normal fans only because some people out there are like obsessed and fanatics. We are. And would just like go on like try to like their best to like get as close as possible to the drivers and like ask him questions or whatever. You probably couldn't get away with that with some of that stuff, like having the sport that close to the fans with F1.
So-
But at the same time, there's a lot that F1 could be doing that it wouldn't take. Bernie is terrified of removing like the element of like of exclusivity to F1.
Right.
But there's
Yeah.
some other stuff that could be done that wouldn't take away from either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a super Twitter plug or anything, but there's no other way for you to see. If you look at our Twitter page, FlatOutFever, you can see a couple of pictures I posted from there where we're like right up to the cars, like 1 inch from the car, like
Wow.
3 minutes after FP1. Like the tires are still hot.
Oh wow.
The car's coming right in.
They're like
You're
encouraging.
right
Guys,
beside
no,
the
come check this
scrutineering.
out. It's still warm.
No, and the mechanics were walking the car back in and like
Yeah.
like I
They
got,
were
like,
dragging them with they had the mechanics sitting in the car dragging them with the truck type thing.
But they still, I mean, you got close enough to ask the guys. I remember asking like, hey, like, so why do you do this particular thing with your back, like arrow
One of
thing
the
around
arrow
around the
options.
what? And they took the time. They looked at me. They acknowledged my question. They were like, oh, it's not really. It's just kind of personal preference, and kept along the way. But that alone,
Yeah.
like,
For YouTube watchers, as you can probably see my laptop here. And
They can't
the middle
really see
screen.
it.
again,
Up or down? Up, down.
It's
just
just
too
give
dim.
up.
Whatever. Anyways. Oh, you can see it, Mike.
I can see it.
But yeah, you can get this close. Except
Wow.
I stuck a FlatOutFever sticker on the Renault front wing. I'll post that picture soon.
So yeah, it was cool to see. So shout out to the guys in Indy, like for what it's worth, like I think that F1, like in terms of access, does have a lot to learn.
That was bad.
I think there's like a problem with that idea though, because
The whole exclusivity thing. Oh,
well,
yeah.
no, in the sense of that if you just like let anyone come in, the more people that like something, the more people that are into something, the more likely you're gonna have someone who's crazy. Not, I don't want to label them as crazy.
No, 100%.
People, but like
Yeah, no,
fanatics of the sport.
like
And
real
like, I
fanatics.
need to get in there and I need to smell the rubber with both my nostrils taped to the floor. You know what I mean?
So, think of this comparison. To get into the Formula One pit lane, the paddock, whatever, the paddock club, whatever, it's thousands of dollars at any race, at any circuit. It's thousands of dollars. It's that exclusive.
If you wanted to pay for that.
If you want to get paid, or else you get invited as a VIP because you're a famous musician or politician or artist of whatever city the race is at. For the Indy race, you can get in the paddock for $30. The tickets are $30. This is like 20, 22 euro, $25. It's nothing. $30 to get into the paddock. And you're in. You can go say hi to the drivers.
It's one of those
You
things
can
we were
see
talking
the
about,
cars
that prestige of Formula One. If it didn't have that, it would make
Yeah.
it seem a little
Like
too
Indy.
like common.
like Indy,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like no, this is for the
But you have to like, okay, let's go back to like,
letting people not into your club makes your club have prestige. It makes it
or no, it
right? You
or
know what I
it's,
mean?
or it's a way to get to that,
Right.
right? Like exclusivity and like keeping people out. Then it gives it that air of like what you say, like prestige and like high classness and all this other stuff. But that doesn't always hold because it could just be better. Like it could just be that much more desirable if it's that much more of a better sport,
Right.
And then it doesn't need to gimmick.
Right.
Yeah.
At the same time, F1 is almost too big to do what we did like on Friday.
Yeah.
The Indy tracks, the
Yeah.
circuits. I assume all of them have something like what we did, the fan-free Fridays,
Yeah.
sponsored by Make-A-Wish.
It was sponsored by Honda, but yeah.
What's that?
It was sponsored by Honda, but yeah. Anyway,
No, fan-free Fridays was
with association.
yeah. Well, the Honda was matching the donations of Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
I say this because my family was helped by Make-A-Wish.
Oh, nice.
So Make-A-Wish is badass. But anyways, they're doing that, and see they kind of like let you into the whole circuit. You can walk
Yeah.
around like we did basically on the Thursday in Montreal.
Yeah.
We had to walk through the pit. But like 80,000 people showed up for that. You can't really 60 or 80,000 people showed up for the Thursday thing. You can't combine it in F1.
Yeah.
But maybe you could in Baku.
The idea is
Maybe
great.
in Hungary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
There's definitely like, I mean, it's not
Like Indy, if it grows like they
the-
hope it will, then they're gonna have to evolve away from that anyways.
Yeah. The way it is in it, like right now, the way that we saw it, that wouldn't be possible in F1, and probably you probably wouldn't want it to be. But that's still not to say that some of that spirit, like the spirit of those ideas, can translate to F1 because they can, because there is a way to like force that interaction, to like make more of that happen.
So I was gonna say, look at just two examples that we saw. Being at their Friday, like we saw the drivers like boop, they're walking right past us,
Yeah.
like holy shit, like they probably go out downtown on the evenings, like nothing's happening. But we talked to somebody who in Montreal went to a nightclub. Lewis Hamilton showed up with security, 3 or 4 guys around him that just
no pictures.
they'll follow him around, don't let you take pictures of him. It's
Jesus.
a whole nother level. It's a
Yeah.
totally different thing.
Yeah.
Like I think even maybe not somebody like Juan Pablo or whatever. If you bumped into him, maybe
Haryanto's just like, oh hey guys, want my autograph?
can you please take my autograph?
Take it.
Can you tweet this number for me?
Yeah.
It's only gonna cost you a few cents. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a whole nother level. But a Toronto Grand Prix in our lifetime, let's push it.
Let's do it. And I guess like one thing that we can. Oh, actually, what do you have like about this FanBoost thing?
Let me do final Canadian thing. Lance
Yeah.
Stroll.
Oh yeah.
We've
So,
been
well,
looking at
that's
this guy, Torontonian.
Yeah.
Looking,
No, he's actually from
Montrealian. Sorry,
Montrealer.
the Montrealian. He's there's 2 Canadians pushing up, but anyways, he's just signed a contract with Williams to do up to 20 full day test sessions
That's
in
a
one of
lot.
the cars. That's a lot, and they're not talking about like 20 days straight or like 20 days in brackets full of driving. They want to take him around the world to a few circuits to get like some different experience, different types of circuits and climates.
Right, yeah.
He's serious.
Get him adjusted.
Somebody is really serious about this dude.
Yeah.
Probably
Yes, he
his
does.
Which is really exciting.
billionaire father.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
For Canadians,
if he lands a Formula One seat, he's my new fan. Like I'm the first in line.
and you know what?
Stroll.
He had a bit of a patchy season last year in his current series that he's competing. He's competing mainly in European Formula 3, which is a FIA sanctioned championship, which is where Max Verstappen came from. That's what he used to do before Formula 1. And last year he was at one point compared to Maldonado because he had like a string of like big crashes.
Oh no!
But maybe it was a matter that like he just had the raw talent. He had just come from like winning like a few championships in a row in different like parts of the world. So maybe it was that like he did have the raw talent, but like had to like hone it. And it seems like he has grown since last year. He was leading. He's still leading the championship, isn't he? I think he is.
I think so.
And in Zandvoort, in the last place that they race, and they do like 3 races per weekend. But in the last place they raced, he actually he got two out of 3 pole positions by clocking fastest time after fastest time. Now those got taken away because his team actually like messed around with his rear suspension, but he has been strong and he's been racing, and if he keeps like putting it on pole, it isn't hard to think that we are gonna see a Canadian in the Formula 1 grid by 2018. That is
Stroll / Latifi.
Yeah, one of those two. They might make it, which would be amazing.
They both got a lot of noise backing them up.
Yeah, especially Stroll. So it should be good.
Before we talk about eBoost, let's finish off the F1. Pirelli, I just want to gloss over this quickly. So they just had a couple of quotes this week. No more high deg from Paul Hembry. 2017, there will not be any more high deg compositions of tires.
Oh, so they're going for like the fully let's last the whole race distance?
Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more energy through the tires, but they're also pushing the compound to a higher operation window.
Nice.
It's interesting to see. And whatever. We'll see how that goes. It's only halfway through this season.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's out of the way. But something that's important to them is they're looking for, because this season they did all the preseason testing in Spain to save money, right, in Barcelona.
Yeah.
The year before they went to Bahrain because it's more representative of part of the season. It's hot there. I mean, like, when they were in Barcelona, it was still cool, like 13, 14, 15 degrees Celsius. So Pirelli's pushing hard for some Mideast testing, either at Bahrain or Abu Dhabi for the preseason or mid-season testing. And actually something else, just to go back to Silverstone for a second, because there's the last race, but Vettel said in the past week, just regarding the safety car start.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is going way back, but he said the drivers don't trust the wets. In general, that the drivers don't trust the wet tires, the full wet tires. Yeah. So maybe that's something to do behind the scenes that Formula One itself wouldn't say, but Vettel said it. It's interesting.
For sure.
They seemed like what was the British Grand Prix? They were pretty like, no, let's get off of them right away.
Yeah,
like half the cars did, right?
Yeah, they did 10% of the race, five and a half, 5-6 full laps. In the safety car. So anyways, we'll see what comes up with that. But the final big F1 story this week is the Apple rumor.
Oh yeah, yes.
Mr. Sayward got his name in Apple Insider and Fortune magazine talking about him. But see, there were two. I don't know if you read these articles, the Apple Insider and the
didn't actually.
Fortune articles.
I had a busy week and I didn't keep up with a lot of F1
news. Both kind of
news.
went on either side. Like, I think Fortune kind of pushed the idea a little more. I don't know if they really know who Joe Sayward is a lot, or same with the Apple Insider people. Apple Insider was more like, yeah, maybe it could happen, and Fortune was more like, in a business sense, it kind of makes sense. But so Joe Sayward himself posted a rebuttal to the rebuttals to himself this morning. But I don't know, super interesting. Apple has something like 160 billion 109 billion in cash, free cash. 106 or 109 billion dollars in free cash, and they just did an over $100 billion stock buyback. They have more cash than the U.S. government.
Finance lessons here, guys. There are big companies out there, and there's many multi-million-dollar companies, and the companies that people.
Apple's the biggest company on earth.
There's
the biggest company on earth.
There's many multi-billion-dollar companies out there, and like when you think of things like General Electric or General Motors for that matter, like Ford, like, you know, the big or Mercedes now, like, to bring it back to F1, or just about any other big company out there, and you hear like numbers like, oh, this company's like their market capitalization is like so many hundreds of billions, so many billions. Only a very small part of that number that they like tell you like how much a company's worth is actually cash in hand. Right. Nobody has cash in hand. Like most of these companies
it's all
are
invested.
Actually,
it's all in other places.
And the actual cash that they use to like their day-to-day operations, a lot of it actually comes from debt. Yeah. That these companies get into. No, Apple actually is sitting on a mountain of cash. They are like, it's ready to be spent on the right way, but they actually have, in terms of like cash ready to spend tomorrow if they choose to, they have the most out of like many of their big companies, and even
like I said, I think more than the United States government. Yeah. Free cash. I forget because they're upside down versions of each other, but it's either 106 or 109 billion dollars. Formula One is looking for $8 billion in value.
So it should be chump change for that.
Yeah, they're just like, oh shit, I was sleeping on this on the couch last night.
Yeah,
I'll just buy it.
CVC has 35% to sell, and according to Joe Sayward, like F1 is for sale. That CVC has already taken the cash, and they're looking to sell it to just pay off that debt. Like they basically borrowed the debt, bought the company from themselves in debt, and just want to sell it. They want out. Ecclestone is 84 years old. Yeah. There's been a lot of rumors about his replacement.
The one thing that those kind of venture capitalists like CVC like hate is instability. And they do not want to deal with a situation where all of a sudden Bernie might croak and die.
Yeah. So that would be a disaster for Formula One, at least in the short term. But looking forward, some of the positives towards Apple buying this. They've sold 800 million iPhones, which is fucking insane. Yeah. 800 million iPhones. But they sold something like 20 million Apple iTVs, the Apple TV, Apple TV product.
Oh, wow.
They don't have anything exclusive yet, which is really what you need, which is like Netflix. Netflix took off making their own shows, right?
Yeah.
Apple TV doesn't have anything exclusive yet. And so they've only sold about 20 million of them. And something that, if you're Canadian, the CRTC, which is the governing body that looks over distribution of Canadian communications, telephone, internet, etc., all communications, radio. They legislated that Canadian companies have to offer some sort of a la carte system for TV channels that you can say, like, I don't need a package of channels 1 to 36 or whatever they sell. Yeah, I want this channel, and that channel. That's what I like. And they have to sell that. That's what Apple's doing. Yeah. But they don't have anything exclusive yet. So, looking at this from Joe Sayward's math, if they bought Formula One and sold only 1% of the Formula One audience an Apple TV box, they paid for the company.
True.
They paid for buying Formula One. It's covered. It's covered. Yeah. And for those that don't know, in 2020, maybe it might be a year past, 2021, Apple's looking to launch the Apple Car, like a vehicle you can buy and drive around.
And what more of a perfect platform? Yeah. To distribute that
than fucking Formula One, the pinnacle of motorsport. Yeah, these are some of the articles.
My brain just kind of exploded.
Hey, but
some of the articles against. What do you got?
Yes, the argument is sound and the argument makes sense
in some ways.
But you could also make sort of a similar argument with, let's say, Amazon also sitting on a big pile of cash, or Google also sitting on a big pile of cash and also developing their own range of cars, and all three companies with a big stake and a big interest in drone technology, which could be significant in years to come in F1.
Neither of those other two have been tied to F1 though.
Yes.
Earlier this year, we reported some rumors that perhaps the owners of what the hell are they called? The Miami Dolphins, who have also billions of dollars. It's a U.S. football team. We're looking at buying the sport to bring it to America, make it bigger. Yeah, I don't know. So some of the arguments against is that traditionally, well, obviously Apple is not traditional anymore, but traditionally that Apple has bought smaller companies which have some sort of exclusive or new technology
that they want to absorb
it and incorporated it into the Apple ecosystem, as those Silicon Valley guys like to say. They incorporate it into the Apple ecosystem and sell it as something exclusive you can only get from Apple. They haven't traditionally bought something this big, but it's a small percentage of their free cash. It's like less than 10% of their cash. It puts them in a crazy spot.
Absolutely.
A whole new world. They're looking to push a vehicle. Formula One is pushing hybrid driving technology.
Now, let's think about that for a second, because if you're gonna come up with a vehicle, vehicles if you're gonna come up with a car, it has to necessarily be far-reaching, right? Absolutely. It has to be like a global thing. It can't any longer be just like an exclusive thing. So they might be willing to push something globally like F1. And change that. I actually honestly, it can be worse than what we have now. It can be worse as CVC, to be honest. I vote for any of the big tech companies. If they come and take over F1, it's only gonna be good for the fans. Let's make no mistake about that. Be it Apple, be it Google, be it Amazon that has a stake, even Jeremy Clarkson out there. Talk to Amazon. Talk to them into buying F1. It would be a good idea.
Do it.
Check this final point. I got this from Joe Sayward. Props to him. Eddie Q, the senior vice president of Apple, has a seat on the board of Ferrari SPA, which is interesting. And also, them owning Formula One, another huge benefit for them is that they would get some say to the FIA, who would have some say in them launching a vehicle as becoming an auto manufacturer, international auto manufacturer. They don't want to sell these cars to America. They want to sell them to the world.
You have to be far-reaching.
You have to sell to everyone, right?
Tesla it.
Eddie Q, the senior vice president of Apple, has a seat on the board of Ferrari.
SPA though.
SPA,
which doesn't mean the whole Ferrari thing anymore, but.
A few other just interesting tidbits. Neither Apple nor the FOM or CVC or anybody that owns Formula One has made any comment or rebuttal to this news.
For or against?
For or against. No comment either way. And at the same time, we talked at the start of the season that Bernie said there's two bidders who want to become owners. And it's all down to signing and whether or not CVC wants to sell. There were two bidders knocking, give us Formula One.
Give it to us.
Never specified who. And apparently, according to Sayward as well, as I said, they've taken the cash from Formula One. This part of the reason, we talked about this last season when we started this podcast, that CVC's been bleeding. They've taken the cash revenue from Formula One. They haven't invested it back. They've taken it and invested it.
And they've what they've done since doing that is just take on more debt to pay for the operating costs or whatever, to give people dividends.
They think they're going to get it back from eventually selling this company. They tried to float it on the Singapore Stock Exchange for $8 billion. Yeah, well, they still think it's worth about $8 billion. They own 35% of that.
No. Their math makes it so that F1 has to be $8 billion. Otherwise, the math doesn't add up, and somebody loses a job. That's what it is.
I know probably people get mad when I talk about MMA and stuff, but listen to this: the UFC, owned by Zuffa, which is controlled by the Fertitta brothers, who own Station Casinos, the biggest casino company in America, I believe. If it's not Station, they own the biggest casino company in the world. Just sold their stake in the UFC for $4 billion. So there's some kind of, I think, pressure on Formula One to sell for more than that. Because
sure.
that sale last week to the WME Group, which is some Hollywood talent agency, blah, blah, for $4 billion is the biggest sports transaction ever on Earth. Mm-hmm. Look at how big the NFL is.
Yeah.
It's bigger. It's $4 billion. Yeah. It's big. If F1 goes for 8 or 8 to 10 like they think, come on. It's crazy.
That could be crazy.
I do believe that they're looking to sell. I don't know about this Apple stuff. I don't know where Jose Word gets his sources. He's never revealed them.
He said he actually when he broke that Apple was buying it, like maybe it was last week.
Oh yeah,
he
a week and a half ago.
Yeah, a week and a half ago. I remember like reading it on his blog. He said that the rumors were coming from Prince's Gate, i.e. the FOM headquarters.
Yeah, he knows somebody inside there.
Yeah.
And Fortune magazine made a point of saying that who knows how much they really know about F1, but that Jose Word is known for his word. That's why he's an independent F1 journalist. He's known because he doesn't talk shit. He doesn't write sensationalist articles. He writes well thought out blogs. JoseWord.wordpress.com for his blog.
He has some magazine, but I wouldn't encourage anybody to buy it.
I've never subscribed. I've read the free pages.
Yeah.
But thanks for the news for sure.
And I guess what were you gonna say about the FanBoost?
So this kind of broke this week. The FanBoost. This is just kind of an aside. It's whatever. A lot of people hate Formula E because of the threat it poses to Formula One. Whatever. They have something called FanBoost, anyways. Right. If you haven't seen a race.
Oh, is this about the vote buying?
The vote buying. There's a company called VotesForContests.com. I'm really sorry. We're working on quoting sources here. Actually, I can find this. SpannersReady.com. SpannersReady.com. Put this story together. This company called VotesForContests.com. They have a screenshot of a conversation with the VotesForContest.com customer service online chat that they said, hey, have you guys ever done any votes for contests for Formula E? And they're like, oh, yeah. Just give us the link for the contest. We can do that. They sell.
No.
So there were some discrepancies, according to the FIA, at the end of the Formula E second season this year.
Yeah.
That a couple of drivers were pissed. They believe that they lost the season due to the FanBoost. What the FanBoost gives you is you get some sort of button on your steering wheel that gives you a boost,
like some sort of extra few like horsepower.
So yeah, if you're making news, if you get in the fans' eye that weekend, they can vote on Twitter and online and say like, "Oh yeah, I really want Mike to get the FanBoost this week," and then your car has a button that gives you a boost. So they've been forced to reduce the boost and the amount of time of the boost, the strength of the boost, because you can buy 10,000 votes for $550. 10,000 votes, and they will appear like they're coming. They can customize orders for making your votes appear like they came from anywhere in the world. They'll happen over
man, that's some
an obvious amount of time.
Yeah.
You can buy these. VotesForContests.com. There's your.
Do we actually want to promote this?
No.
Let's some website.
I'm talking shit about Formula E on the Formula One podcast.
Let's say some website does this.
Yeah, Formula One has nothing like this. Formula E is doing bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
Behind the scenes.
Oh, well, anyway, I guess like the last thing that we can ended up with would be, as many of you might know, last week we launched the 10 a weekend campaign. There's lots more to come from that from us on this campaign. It's just timing. But within the next week or so, we're gonna be releasing a lot more updates, and we're actually serious about this. So we posted a thread on Reddit that got a lot of attention, and basically what we're trying to bring to the fore, more than anything, is awareness that right now if you're a cord cutter, like, let's admit it, all three of us are. We do not have a cable TV subscription. I know many people our age in our same situation that do not have this. This is a growing trend around the world. Mm-hmm. If you're a cord cutter, it's very, very hard to get a cord cutter, by the way, it means that you may have a TV at home, 2 TVs, multiple TVs, but you do not have a traditional cable TV subscription. You make do just with your internet, and right now with the internet, you can have Netflix, you can have this, you can have that, and you're watching, like, you can still watch TV now. Today, this is reality. This is the world in 2016. Do not dispute it. Go out there, ask around. This is a reality. Go. If you're from Reddit, go on Reddit. Go to the subreddit that's r/cord cutters. This is real. So the cord cutting is on the rise. Prices of sports subscriptions and cable TV have been going up, specifically and it correlates with the rise of the cord cutters. What's happening is that cable TV right now is sort of like unraveling. It's in a big unraveling mess, and the only thing that's holding it together and that's making still people like that, making the argument of paying on a monthly subscription, that's like that you have to like sign like year-long contracts for. The only thing that keeps people paying like the sometimes outrageous amount of money that they're asking for is live events, more specifically sporting events, right?
Yeah, sports is the big one, right?
Of course, yeah, because it is one thing that TV or cable TV in the traditional sense still has over the internet. There's a lot of on-demand TV out there on the internet, but there's not a lot of live sports. The thing is that some sports worldwide have already noticed this. And
most if not all,
most of the global ones, and especially the ones that know that have a global reach, a global audience, have been cashing in on this. UFC, and I know that we bring it up here a lot, but the fact remains that as it stands right now, UFC, in terms of delivering content to
a big reason for their sale.
Yeah,
is because they've been pushed this content the past year. They do online exclusives.
Yeah, they have a good app.
I don't know if F1 needs this, but they do reality shows. They do fan content.
They're just pumping
like the F1
content
show.
like crazy. Just like you said, go on their YouTube channel, and like it's like almost like every couple minutes,
hours.
Yeah, they're pulling out
24/7, every few hours, every day they have.
If we say that if the UFC is maybe making the best out of cashing in on the cord cutters and on the people out there that just simply have either no money or no time or no desire, not necessarily like, and this is where people go wrong. It doesn't, like, cord cutters out there, it's not because they can't afford TV. It's because simply cable TV has ceased to be an attractive alternative for them. You know what I mean? It's not that like that. And yes, there are some people out there that just can't afford normal cable TV, and because of that, they just choose to pay for what they can and care for, they can watch and care for. But negating that
CRTC,
part of the population,
a la carte.
Yeah, but negating that part of the population it's not only like wrong if you want to expand your fan base, but it's also plain stupid from a business point of view, because this is a sector of the population that now has gone from just being a minority to now being a visible minority, and it's actually growing and growing and growing all the time. Now, F1 can't, and this is our argument, that F1 cannot fully extract the maximum benefit of the cord cutters right now, or like the people that are in these kind of situations, because of the way that their content distribution works. F1 relies, they give all the digital distribution rights to the national broadcasters. And the national broadcasters, they bargain with FOM about how much everybody should be paying for, and then based on that, if you like live in a country with a low F1 demand, then like Canada, for example, then your options are limited. Either the national broadcasters, even though they know that there's such a low demand, then they just either don't produce their own content at all and just feed off of whatever like other like language or the same language broadcast. Like so in our case in TSN, our national broadcaster that does F1, we get the
Sky.
Yeah, we get the Sky F1 feed, but to make it worth it for them, they throw in a bunch of commercials that ruin ruin the watching experience
during the race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
during the race. Like if Sky doesn't do it, they do it. How do you solve this? How do you? And this is what we're trying to tackle. So it would be better.
At every sport.
It would be better if there was a centralized. Now, what that looks like and what that costs at this point is almost irrelevant. We arrived at the figure of $10 a month or like thereabouts because it could make sense to explore that number. Not
10 a weekend.
Yeah, not
it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah,
It's a good slogan.
Not even meaning that like that's gonna have to be it. But let's start with that. Let's start with that idea. Let's just by talking about this, we're exposing the big flaw and the fact that nothing like this exists in the common sense and cannot in the current sense in the current like mess of contracts that F1 has with the independent broadcasters.
Yeah.
It cannot exist. A globally accessible, good quality F1 coverage that is really what every fan out there is looking for, and new fans as well as veterans of the sport. This cannot happen, and it can, and it has nothing to do like. So let's when we posted one of the threads that it had fantastic response. Honestly, thank you for everybody that participated. So one of the question or one of the things was, but I'm already paying $30 or €30 to like my local provider, and I'm not getting like just F1. I'm getting like this, and this. So why would I pay like $10 a week a race?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we're really talking about is something like this. Are they seeing this right now?
Yep.
This is a little mock-up of what 10 a weekend could really look like an FOM produced or FOM licensed streaming service worldwide where you can get something like this on the same screen. You see the regular world feed. In the top corner, you got the onboard feed. Simultaneously, you've got the helicopter feed. Below that, you've got the full timing, tire data,
as it happens,
pit stops,
people's positions.
Beside that, you've got a 3D track map with GPS dots of the vehicles driving around. Beside that, you've got commentary and radio news during the race that's popping up. Beside that, selectable driver data. Here we've got Lewis Hamilton, his tires, his G-forces, his speed, his braking, his acceleration, his fastest lap.
But more than that, we're talking about a multi-screen experience where you could also pick to have just the world feed with the good commentary.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, like up at the front. Yeah, any of these things. Or to have this going in your big screen and then have your tablet with like either the rest of the stuff or like, let's say, timing and the map being shown to you.
I think the idea you're trying to get across is that like you should be able to customize this to how you want to view F1.
A lot of people on our thread posted back like, "Oh, what do you think this is? It's Sunday. I just want to chill out and watch the race." A lot of people don't. A lot of people love this. Last week at Betty's, the last race, we had the race simultaneously with the onboard feed.
Yeah.
And people
were into that.
And the thing is, this doesn't stop you.
Yeah.
This doesn't stop you from just enjoying the race. You can
sit
just
back and
watch.
watch it with the
Honestly,
feed.
it's more data, and the more data that you can have, it at one point when you become a fan of F1, you start like this will enrich your experience, right? And for TSN, let's just bring it back to like say Canada.
Yep.
So for TSN to invest and actually have something like this available on offer, it wouldn't be reasonable.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be reasonable because
It doesn't
there's
even
just
seem like it shouldn't be unreasonable because they should be able to license the data streams from.
No. No, it has to be separate. Like, and this is the point, man. It has to be an offer. This ideally is what the F1 app that you can get should be able to do, and this is what we're talking about. The F1 app right now that you can get from the Play Store and Google, the Google Play Store or the Apple Store should be able to do this. But
honestly,
it can't.
that's what I thought it was going to do.
But no, it can't.
Yeah.
There's no way that it can do that. They'll get into all kinds of legal trouble, and that's why those contracts have to be broken. Mm-hmm. They have to be renegotiated. Like, and this is why this conversation
isn't going to happen regionally. That TSN and NBC and
nobody's
Sky Sports and RFM and Global Sports and.
If anything, right now the Brits have it better than anybody else, and they'd have no need for this if they have like Sky or whatever, because something like this is on offer for them right now.
Check this out though. For the Brits, next year Sky's promising 4K coverage of every race. That's going to be 114 £8.40 a month.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It doesn't have to be
It's not
because
10 a weekend. That's $150 a month.
yeah, but now and here's our
Before
point. Here's our
Pre-Brexit numbers.
but here's our point, man. If you then instead of doing that, make a good quality like Sky F1 level quality accessible around the world for the entire Anglosphere and even beyond, and you know that a good quality English stream, for example, would go beyond borders, would go beyond like just the Anglosphere. Yeah. We're talking about
people
from Canada just like seeing this at the same time as people in India, as people in Norway, for example, where and Germany, where there's like a lot of English penetration, a lot people in just other third world countries, like because at one point, like if you live in a third world country and you want to like advance in life, you learn to speak English. That's just the de facto world language pretty much right now. So you'd be able to have access to this. You'd pay your $10 a raise, and instead of like having to extract $100 a month from a select number of Brits, if you just do $10 a raise to the world at large, you're gonna make more money. Like there's no way around it.
Yeah,
like it is gonna happen. It'll work.
And if they were to go with this, even like considering they are late to the game, you're building that infrastructure for the future,
for future growth,
to get
to continents like Africa. Right now, if you want to like watch F1 anywhere in Africa, you're basically like asking for people to invest a lot of money that they don't have on expensive cable packages. Whereas this could just open it to like the random F1 yeah, man.
Yeah. And this also like helps people get into F1 and like
absolutely.
I had like for people who are just starting into the podcast, these guys both asked me to start this podcast with them, and I told them I knew nothing about Formula One at all, zero, zip. Like I knew Vettel, Schumacher, the color red, and that was it. Like in speed and tires, like I knew those concepts. And it's taken me a year and a half to learn this sport. But if I had something like this, I would understand it so much more play. Yeah, and that's what the sport's about. It's complicated. It's a ballerina dance. It's a menage of things.
But now, so let's say in many respects, if you were just a lone person out there from the internet trying to get into F1 versus like your own personal situation, you might have had it easy precisely because you had us to like walk you through this. But if you were out there on your own, left to your own devices, and just decided like one day out of like an irk of curiosity, you to check out a race,
I'm gonna check it out.
Like Bill Burr?
You'd probably like you'd tune to TSN, check out like see like 100 commercials, and then you'd probably like not even understand what's going on. You'd be so put off by like the cuts in and out like in like mid sentence of the commentary that your chances of checking F1 again might be like way lower than instead of that. If you just, all right, I'm going to pay $10 this weekend, check it out. You have access to the whole coverage, start to finish, no commercial interruptions. Watch the race. You probably be like, holy shit, this is cool. And then what do? Then your curiosity is already piqued, and you want to find out more. So instead of waiting for the next race, since you have the pass still to watch on-demand content from before, you go and put another race. Oh, what happened? What happened in the previous race?
Yeah, I want to see what happened with that weird qualifying they were talking about. So I'm going to watch Australia.
And there you go.
Yeah, you need archive access.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this will only enrich every fan's experience, new and old,
and enrich literally the FOM.
This is the thing that boggles my mind, man. We're talking about like them doing something here that would not only like make fans' lives easier, it would actually enrich their coffers. Why isn't this being talked about, man?
Yeah, I was under this assumption that they liked money. Maybe I'm just being silly.
Another big argument against for the 10 a weekend campaign was, why would I pay $10 a weekend or £10 a weekend?
I only care about the race.
A weekend. Well, I only care about the race. Listen, NASCAR right now, and a lot of people say like what I put together here, this mock-up of what the 10 a weekend interface could look like. This photo, I'll post this on Twitter or whatever after you can see it. If this wasn't worth $10 a weekend to somebody, the older fan, the seasoned fan who just wants to sit on the couch and relax, NASCAR, a competing sport, offers something called the NASCAR scanner. This is $3 a month or $15 a season, US dollars. Gives you access to driver info, spotters, whatever that is for NASCAR, and chief info. They're like their team principal data. You can get that for $3 a race, $15 a weekend. For the more hardcore
hang on a
fan,
second, because you said $3 a month or $15
a season.
A season.
Yeah.
So so it's a season, not a race. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, per season. But they offer for the more hardcore fan who might want something like this, like the 10 a weekend, and there's no reason F1 can't tier their access.
That's it.
Give you some driver access and the race, and if you want all the other shit, you pay more. What NASCAR gives you for $8 a month or for $45 a season is full stats, leaderboard info, audio for the radios, 3D track and pit lane camera, and onboard cameras selectable, and you can actually watch, like we have mocked up here, as many of those simultaneously as you can fit on your screen or your internet can handle.
Yeah.
As many as you want to watch, you can pull up your phone as well. There's no reason F1 can't be doing this.
Yeah. So if all you want to pay for is $5 a race weekend, or just $5 a race to just watch the race,
why can't
this
platform do that? There's no reason.
Here's the thing: this platform would allow you that. Like, it would allow that flexibility. It would allow people to customize their experience, and from that you can build. This is the thing: from something like this, once an offering of this level is available, you can build on it huge. You can add features, you can add languages, you can add support for all kinds of things that before just wasn't available, and you'll do that on demand. So let's say people, not just the F1 fans of Britain or the F1 fans of X or Y country. No, the people of the world are asking for this feature, so you invest, you look at the numbers, and all of a sudden, something that wasn't worth investing if it was only going to be sold to 100,000 people, if instead we're talking about a few million people, all of a sudden it makes sense. All of a sudden it's worth investing. So this is what we're talking about.
If you look at, in quotes, don't get me wrong here, the Formula E future of F1, whatever, they offer their service completely free. All of that is free on YouTube. But if we're being like, it sounds nice and whatever, utopian, but really Formula E is not even where Formula 1 was in 1950.
Yeah.
Right now. They're offering that for free. And the IndyCar, we went down to the Toronto race this weekend, on YouTube offers, the race was not available online for free. But on YouTube, they showed the entire Friday of the circuit, all the below series, and
all
the
the support races. Yeah,
their equivalent of the FP1 and FP2 on the Friday. There's no reason even. Well, there's reasons. The Concord Agreement and broadcaster deals and all that exclusivity. But there shouldn't be a reason that Formula One's not showing the free practice sessions, and maybe even the qualifying. Maybe not the qualifying. That's a business decision, but all the free practice, not available.
All the other side stuff that happens with F1, the press conferences,
the press conferences,
everything, man. Content is key. And
wake
the
up.
UFC
is showing you the
wake up
press
to
conferences for
this
free.
is the real, this is reality right now. Content is king. You gotta be putting out this kind of content
24/7.
all the time.
The Earth doesn't stop spinning.
Yeah,
half of it is always lit up.
Yeah. All right. I think with those words, we can DJ play us out.
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody, thanks so much for sticking around. I know that some of you are still watching. Sorry about the glitches that we had last week.
Mix your own DOWNFORCE. 2 parts Heineken, 1 part Red Bull. If you get a 500 ml Heineken can, 250 ml Red Bull can, you can get
your set.
2 12-ounce set glasses solo cup. Get your
2 + 1 = DOWNFORCE.
Jacked up.
Getting all jacked up right
Thanks
now.
for listening.
Cheers.